Hi, it's Dr. Lori, the PhD Antiques Appraiser, and I'm back with more Real Bargains. This episode of Real Bargains, I've got Disney, that's right, Mickey Mouse is coming at you, and of course some sapphires, because you can't do anything without some real gemstones, and a coffee mug. That's right, a coffee mug. This first Real Bargain comes from a video caller. And this was a great story. My video caller said, Dr. Lori, I'm a little melancholy because my dad passed away. We all know that can be very hard when you lose a loved one. And she said, well, I was going into a thrift store. And the reason I was going into the thrift store was because I saw a dog carrier that I wanted to buy in the window. So I was going in to buy the dog carrier, and I saw this mug on the shelf in the thrift store. And it reminded me of my dad because the mug said the Alamo, and my dad loved John Wayne movies, and one of the movies was called The Alamo. So she said, so I had to buy it. I was thinking of my dad, and I thought, I'm going to buy that mug. I said, well, that's great. She said, so I wanted to talk to you about it because I think it could be something. I said, okay, well, let's take a look. So we looked at it during the video call, and it was pretty special. This mug is relatively rare. There were mugs that were actually commissioned by the actor John Wayne. John Wayne, if you don't know who he was a very famous actor, and he, of course, was known for those Western movies, those old Westerns of scenes like the Alamo and, of course, other, of course, Western themed movies, big cinematographic films that people would love to watch. And he was an icon of Americana for a long time in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. So the Alamo, this particular mug, was made by a gentleman named Bob Williams. Now, Bob Williams created these coffee mugs commissioned by John Wayne, and then John Wayne would give a coffee mug to everybody in the cast and crew on all of his films. So if you were on a film with John Wayne, you would get a coffee mug at the end of the movie. Pretty interesting. This one was actually signed to Harry from Duke, and John Wayne was known as Duke. Well, Harry was his stunt man for the Alamo. The Alamo, this particular hand-painted ceramic mug with a gold handle, the Alamo mug actually was for Harry, that stunt man. So the research that my video caller did actually connected the movie, of course, to John Wayne, and the commissioned mugs sell pretty high. I said, so what did you pay for this wonderful piece of film history? She said, well, I paid $3 for it, along with the dog carrier that I wanted initially, which is what got me into the thrift store in the first place. I said, well, after doing some checking and identifying the quality of the piece, and of course making sure that it really was one of those Bob Williams commissioned mugs for John Wayne and his films, I was able to tell the video caller what it's worth. It's a real bargain. It's a real bargain at $5,000. These actually sell for $5,000 to collectors of course, film memorabilia and also John Wayne collectors, people who love everything about the Westerns and about the actor John Wayne. A $3 investment turns into $5,000. Her father was looking out for her, I bet. This next real bargain comes from a video caller, and she purchased this set, which is actually a beautiful jewelry set of a pair of earrings, a pendant that matches, and a cocktail ring that matches the earrings and the pendant. She bought it at an online auction. The jewelry set is really quite beautiful, and I was very, very happy because whenever I hear that young people are collecting, I get excited. So many people will perpetuate the myth that young people don't like antiques, and I want you to think about this. Here's what I want you to think about. When did you start collecting? Did you start collecting as an adult? Most people start collecting as children. And young people always like to collect. If you started to collect when you were a child, you'll understand it when I say this, because a lot of people start when they're young. So if you think that young people don't care about antiques, well, you're wrong. This particular example is just a case in point. This is a video caller who found this particular set in an online auction. So she said, Dr. Lori, I got the tools that I needed in order to identify the quality, because once I watched your videos, I learned what the return on investment could be for jewelry and flipping jewelry online, I decided I needed to get serious about this. So I said, well, good for you. The pieces are duly marked sterling silver. They are also gold overlay. Why gold overlay? Vermeil or gold overlay will actually take well to sterling silver. So a lot of times you're going to see a 925 mark or a sterling silver mark on something that looks gold, because they put gold overlay on top of it where the base or undermetal is sterling silver. It's very, very typical and very desirable. So this particular set is just that. It's sterling silver, which you can see with gold overlay. The stones are not sapphires as you might think, but they're tourmalines. And they're tested tourmalines because my video caller, who was smart, that smart young lady, she in fact got her tester and she tested the stones. And that's important to have the right tools. This particular example is, of course, the earrings, which have a pronged set tourmaline, a large tourmaline in the earrings, and a large tourmaline in that marquee set, that marquee style faceted cut for the pendant with sterling silver and gold overlay. And then the ring, which is a nice cocktail ring, which is sterling silver and gold overlay, and the central stone of the tourmaline too. All matching set. So I said, so what happened when you saw it? She said, well, they're pierced earrings, which I liked. I liked that I had a pair. I liked that there was a pendant. And even if there wasn't a ring, I still would have bought the 3 pieces of the earrings with the pendant. She said, when I saw that there was a ring, I thought, I've got to try to get this in the online auction. Well, get it, she did. She paid $20 for all 4 pieces, the matching earrings, the pendant, and the ring. $20 for all of it. So I said, that is amazing. She said, I so enjoy the videos. I'm learning so much from your channel, Dr. Lori, that I had to call you about it. I can't wait to hear what you think it's worth. Well, it's worth a lot, and you get a little bit of extra value because it's actually a set. So keep the jewelry sets intact. I told her if you do resell it, I want you to, in fact, resell it as a set. It's going to give you a little bit more money on the resale element. And what should I ask for it, Dr. Lori? I said, well, I'll tell you what it's worth. It's a real bargain because it's worth $3,000. Pendant and ring, $3,000 for your $20 investment. It's a real bargain and beautiful. She said, I'm not selling it. It reminds me of you, and I like jewelry. So she's going to keep it for herself. Good for her. And what's good for you is the newsletter. That's right. I want to remind you to sign up for my free newsletter. All you have to do is go to drloriv.com and sign up. Give us your email, and we'll send it to you. You don't have to do anything else. We send it out regularly. This next real bargain comes from a video call. This was beautiful. I like glass. I think glass is beautiful. This particular piece is a gorgeous example of studio art glass. Now, studio art glass made all over the world. Some of the more famous places, of course, places like Murano, places like, of course, Sweden, places like New Jersey, all different places, Corning, New York, where they make, of course, studio art glass. This particular piece is beautiful. It's a large bowl, and this bowl, of course, has a nice sort of bulbous shape. It tapers toward the bottom to a very circular, round, small base, and then it flares up really very dramatically at the top. It's multicolored case glass. It is a mark on the bottom that's illegible, but it's dated 1992. And it's also cased glass. You'll notice the inside is a white color, but the exterior is multicolored, almost like a rainbow effect going all the way through. A nice sort of free-form edge and a beautiful piece. The piece is 9 inches by 10 inches by 16 inches, so it's pretty long. And then, of course, it's rather high and then less deep. But a beautiful example. So my video caller says to me, Dr. Lori, I bought this at the thrift store, and I was doing the road runner sort of move when I was getting out of the thrift store. I was like moving as fast as I can. You remember the road runner, and he'd sort of have his legs would be going a mile a minute. She said, I had to get out of there quickly. It was in my hands, and I was just like, I just want to pay for it and get out of there. I know a lot of you have that feeling in the thrift store. You're just like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here, right? I want to pay for this and leave. but this is a beautiful example. So a gorgeous piece of free-flown glass, and a lot of you are looking at glass. I want you to remember the colors are going to be important. The color pairing will be important. You know, what colors go with what color. If it's cased glass, if it's free-form, if, of course, it's a bowl like this. Now, this is more of a presentation bowl rather than a functional bowl. Like me, I wouldn't put anything in this bowl. I just use it for it's pretty. This looks beautiful. Don't touch it. Just have your eyes on it. Don't put candy in it. Don't throw your keys in it. Don't put extra change in it. It's for nice, right? That kind of thing. But it's a beautiful bowl, and again, it dates to the late part of the 20th century. It is American made. And this particular piece, I said, so what did you pay as you were doing your Roadrunner move? She said, I paid $20 for it. I went, wow, $20 is a great deal for a 16-inch. You know, that's a big bowl, 16 inches. I said, well, $20, what's it worth? It's worth $300, and it's a real bargain and a real beauty, too. So do you like Mickey Mouse? I like Mickey Mouse. I like Minnie Mouse a lot. I have to say I like Minnie Mouse. I get a little confused with Pluto and Goofy. I mean, I know which one is which, but I don't see that. I don't understand why they have to have, I don't know. Too many dogs for me. But I have to say that I like Mickey Mouse, and I love to golf. This video caller brought me sort of the best of both worlds when she showed me this pin from Disney from the 1980s, 1990s. This, of course, is a gold-tone metal and enameled pin of Mickey Mouse as a golfer. Now, if you're a Disney collector, or if you know a Disney collector, they are dedicated collectors. They are not kidding around. Everything Disney, they love it, and they keep collecting it, and they're very devoted. So, what that means for those of you who might be at the thrift store, like my video caller, who was thrifting in this particular thrift store and found this pin marked Disney clearly with the copyright symbol right next to Disney. If you see, she saw this and she knew that the Disney collectors would want to have this pin. In addition, this pin falls into more than one category for collectors. It's not only Mickey Mouse, it's not only Disney, but it's also golfing, and golfing is big. Golf collectors are almost as fanatical as Disney collectors. So this particular pin, about 1.5 inches big. It's a nice piece. It's in gold tone metal, so it's well constructed and then hand painted with the enamels. It's really cute. He's got his little, he's got his golf shoes, and he's got his golf clubs and his bag, and he's all ready to take to the links. It's a beautiful example. What did she pay? Well, she paid 50 cents. I know, I've been telling you about pins. Pins and brooches, remember, they're very desirable. They oftentimes are in a basket or something at the thrift store, and they're overlooked a lot of the times. They're a real bargain a lot of the times. This one certainly is that. For a 50-cent investment, she got a piece that's worth, wait for it, $150. That's right. It's a real bargain because it's good condition and also because it is a highly recognizable Disney figure. You can't go wrong with Mickey Mouse. Have you ever been thrift store shopping and you had this happen to you? You've got something in your hand that you're about to buy and people are following you around because they're hoping that you'll put it back out on the shelf? Well, that's what happened to this video caller. That's right. At the thrift store at Goodwill, he was walking around with this painting. It's a pretty big painting. It's not so small. It's 48 by 38 inches, and it's of a horse. And people were following him around, hoping that he would put it down for a minute so they could scoop it up and buy it themselves. So when I talked to my video caller, he said, Dr. Lori, I saw it and I remembered what you said about original art, and I thought, this is kind of cool. It's oil on canvas, and I looked at the back and I saw that it was signed on the back. Well, it was signed on the back. It's a work of art by an artist known as Cezar, and his name is Nino Cezar. And Nino Cezar is a well-known Chicago and Minneapolis area artist, the upper Midwest. And in fact, this particular piece is very characteristic of his work. And this work is a quintessential, iconic work of art of his animal series, this one, a horse. So a large body, small head, small legs. Cezar's very well known for this. It dates to the late 1900s. It was automatically recognizable, and my video caller said that he was able to find this artist's work online too. I said, well, it's a great piece. He said, well, I was really kind of surprised that I found it just sitting there in the Goodwill, and it was in such good shape, and nobody was around it until I picked it up. And then everybody was following me. I thought that was funny. He said, so I made sure that I got out of there as soon as I can. I said, so tell me, how much did you pay for it, and what did you think when you saw it? He said, what I thought when I saw it was Dr. Lori would like this because it's an original work of art. And I also thought when I saw it, I should buy this and I should get it out of here. It looks like the real thing. I said, so how much did you pay? He said, I paid $29 for it. Now, $29 at a thrift store seems like a lot of money, but it's a big painting. You know, it's 4 feet by a little more than 3 feet. So, 38 by 48 is pretty big for a work of art. He said there was a frame on it, a slight frame on it, pretty typical of the modernists. And it dates from the late 1900s. I really like it. I thought it was great, and I was happy to see that it was signed on the back. This particular piece, I had the good fortune to tell him that similar pieces based on actual sales records, where similar pieces have sold, you got to identify the whole market and not look in just one place when you're looking for sales records. This particular piece, others have sold at $2,500, and that is what this one is worth. This one is worth $2,500 for his $29 investment at the Goodwill. He did a great job finding this painting by a major American artist sitting at the thrift store. I'm Dr. Lori. Thanks for being with me. Thanks to everybody who participated in Real Bargains. I hope you find your real bargain real soon. And you will if you keep watching my videos.